The longest psalm, as many of you will know, is Psalm 117. If you've already read today's psalm, you will have probably guessed which is the second longest. It is indeed Psalm 78. It is long, but it is well worth reading it all. But it does make a 3-minute devotion just a little bit tricky, but we're going to give it a go. A helpful tip for understanding the Psalms is to look at the beginning and the end. They often set up and then sum up the psalm. And here in Psalm 78, it does at least tell us the purpose of the psalm and then ends with the most important point. So just hear how it starts in verses 1 and 2. My people, hear my teaching. Listen to the words of my mouth. I will open up my mouth with a parable. I will utter hidden things from of old. So here we see that we're called to listen up. He's going to teach, and we're to listen and to take note of what he says. We're to learn from it. And indeed, as we read on the next few verses, we're to pass that on to future generations as well. And what he teaches, his parable, is the history of the Jews, particularly of the northern kingdom called Ephraim here. And to sum up, their history is one of weakness, failure, and rebellion, putting God to the test. And God responds by rejecting them, by giving them over to their enemies. And this is the big thing the psalmist wants his readers to learn from their history. Rebelling against God leads to rejection by him. And we're to learn from this example. When we read our Old Testaments and see the repeated failures of God's people, and we see God's repeated mercy, but yet we see them again rebel against him again and again and again. And then we see God ultimately judge them. We are to learn from that example. Sin is so deceitful. It promises so much. It whispers in our ear, ignore God, ignore his word. This sin is good. It will make you happy. But repeatedly giving in, even in small ways, is to be flirting with a dangerously slippy slope. And that's the warning we're meant to take away from this psalm. But the final section ends on a really positive note. The psalmist switches his attention from Ephraim, the northern kingdom, to Judah, the southern kingdom. And he offers them hope, the hope of a king. King David, who would look after and lead the people. Just look at the final verse. And David shepherded them with integrity of heart. With skillful hands, he led them. Now we know that even the mighty King David failed as well, and his descendants did even much worse than him. But we have his great descendant, King Jesus, who does tend to his people, who shepherds them, who guards them and protects them from sin, and who ultimately laid down his life for his sheep to pay for their failures. So let's stick with him, our King.